Hey, if you don't know me, my name is Jeffrey, and in this video, I'm going to talk about my journey into real estate, how I closed my very first investment deal, and how 6 years ago, I was in a position that I know many people can relate to. So 6 years ago, I was essentially living paycheck to paycheck, had no real assets and almost nothing in savings. I felt like I was stuck in a rut both mentally and financially. Fast forward to today, and I have flipped hundreds of homes. I own multiple rental properties and have closed on a 60-unit apartment complex and have ultimately made millions of dollars in real estate. And believe it or not, one single house and one single deal was the catalyst which put me on this path and totally changed my life forever. And if you're watching this video, I know for sure the same thing can happen for you. But before I break down what happened in that deal, let me just back up a few years. So I was terrible in school, horrible. I hated it. In fact, in high school, I just did enough to get by and allow myself to continue playing on the baseball team. Then, when I got to college, it was a real disaster. I skipped class all the time. I was bored with all my subjects, and I just did the bare minimum to get by. I was definitely not the model for how to be successful. But the thing I did have was work ethic and determination. I just needed to find something I was passionate about to apply it towards. Fast forward a couple years, and of course I had dropped out of college. And I was really unsure of what my future held and what it looked like. So one day, my buddy and I were hanging out, we're watching a TV show, and we see this show where people are purchasing old, outdated homes and they're making lots of money renovating them and then selling them for a profit. And we were young, ignorant, so we figured, hey, what a great idea, let's do that. So we say, okay, well, what's the next step? So we say, okay, let's go get our real estate license. And then of course, after we get that, things will just skyrocket, right? So this is where I faced my first real challenge in the real estate journey. Because remember I said I was terrible at school, right? Well, it turns out that getting your real estate license is a lot like school. And after I took the real estate class, I ended up failing the state exam 4 straight times. And I was only missing by a question or two each time. After the 4th time failing the test, I began to seriously contemplate quitting. A voice in my head was saying, hey, this is too hard. You keep failing, so obviously you must not be cut out for this whole real estate thing. And I even had friends and family encouraging me to go find a real job or go back to school and get a degree. And I'll be honest, when you're in moments of weakness and discouragement like I was then, it is very tempting to listen to those voices that are providing you a way out. But here's what kept me in the game and kept me from quitting. Back before I started the real estate classes, I prayed about the decision to go down this path, and I felt like God was leading me into real estate. I didn't know exactly what everything was going to look like, and I didn't know all the steps, but I did feel peace about the decision, and I was fully convicted. I knew this is where I needed to go. And if you're watching this video and you don't remember anything else that I say, please remember this next part. If you are fully convicted in something and you know that God has led you down a certain path and you're knocking on that door but the door won't open, do not quit. Whatever you do, don't quit. And definitely do not let people who are just humans supersede something that you know you're supposed to be doing. Figure out how to stop knocking and kick down the door. It was after failing my test for the 4th time that I realized I'm not going to give up no matter what. I know this is what I'm supposed to be doing, and I'm going to stick with it. And sure enough, on the 5th attempt, I ended up passing my real estate test and got my license. So it's like, okay, great, smooth sailing from here, right? So surely the money is just going to start pouring in, right? Well, wrong. Turns out it's pretty tough to flip houses when you're 21. You got no money, no experience, and really you just have a TV show that you're going off of. So in my first year of real estate, when I was 21, I made a grand total, wait for it, of $2,000 in commissions. I know, pretty amazing. And honestly, I kind of started to feel like a failure again because I wasn't having the success that I thought I would. But instead of quitting, I've just made an adjustment. So I began to utilize my real estate license and started acting as a real estate agent representing buyers and sellers. And I actually even had the chance to work with my dad for a few years doing this, which was great. And while I knew that ultimately I wanted to be a real estate investor, this time that I was an agent was a great way for me to gain some experience, learn more about the industry, and most importantly, start to understand kind of what helped houses sell and what didn't. After doing this though for 4 years, it became pretty clear to me that this was not what I wanted to do for much longer. I kind of got tired of buyers calling me at 6, 7 o'clock at night wanting to go see a house and go see it on a weekend, and you could end up showing a buyer 20 houses and then they may not even buy anything. Very frustrating. Now, there's certainly a lot of agents out there that have great careers and they make a lot of money and they love doing it. But for me, I just knew that this is not what I wanted to do long term. Well, my big break and the one deal that I mentioned earlier that forever changed my life came right around this time. In addition to being a real estate agent, I would also sometimes go do basic exterior inspections on homes that were facing a foreclosure, just as a way to kind of make some extra money. So one day I'm out driving around looking at these homes, doing the inspections with my wife in the car actually, and she's like asleep in the car. We're driving around and I end up knocking on the door of this elderly woman whose husband had unfortunately, he passed away a few months ago, and she had no idea that she was about to lose her home in 2 weeks. So I'm at her door and I started talking to her for a few minutes, and I could sense that there was going to be some real opportunity here to both help her and to potentially make a profit flipping this house. So I was pretty excited. But the reality is that I had personally never helped anybody stop a foreclosure before. And in fact, I knew very little about the whole process. I'd also never renovated a house before. And her house, it definitely needed some work. And I almost had no money at this time. So I had no experience in flipping homes, no money, and I didn't know how to stop a foreclosure. I had all these factors that were kind of making me fearful of doing this deal. And at that moment, I was faced with a choice. Was I going to take action and make it happen, or was I going to be fearful and let my anxiety and uncertainty take hold of me and prevent me from taking action? Well, once again, I prayed about it and I knew that this was a step I needed to take. So it was time for me to trust God with this and then do the hard work necessary to make it happen. And I think that that's an important thing to delineate, is that we can trust God and we know He's going to help us, but at the end of the day, we have to be willing to put the hard work in and make things happen. So that is exactly what I did. We signed a contract and I got to work. I spent the next 2 weeks making lots of phone calls, did lots of research on the internet, and ultimately ended up putting all the pieces together to get her foreclosure stopped and to get the deal closed. So fast forward about 4 months, we had finished the renovation, put the house on the market, found a buyer, got a contract, got through due diligence, and we got the house sold, and it was awesome. At the end of the deal, when all the numbers shook out, I actually ended up with a net profit of over $40,000. And pretty much at that time, my entire outlook on real estate, money, and how I spent my time was changed forever. After that deal, I realized my time would be much better spent looking for more deals and more people to help in similar situations, rather than just working as a real estate agent. So that's what I did. My first year as a full-time real estate investor was 2018, and I ended up purchasing and flipping 19 homes that year. Then I did 29 in 2019, 37 in 2020, and from there we've just continued to increase what we've done. But none of this would have been possible if I had quit when things got tough and I faced that adversity. Instead of quitting or taking the easy route out, I decided to face my fears, take action, and make it happen. And if you want to get into real estate investing, you have the same opportunity right in front of you. I would love to help you in any way I can. So follow me on my social media channels and just reach out to me and let me know where you need some help and what I can do to kind of help you on your journey. If you like this video, please let me know in the comments below. And if you'd like a more detailed breakdown of what exactly I had to do to stop the foreclosure and get that very first deal closed, including who I called, how I got the money, how I structured the deal, let me know. That'd be helpful for me to hear that feedback, and I can do another video breaking that down. So thanks for watching. Remember, kick that door down and make it happen.